ANC wrapping up its NEC this morning. It's with a wreath-laying ceremony as part of the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of Oliver Tambo's death. A briefing will then be held around midday on the configuration of the alliance, COSATU and the SACP, and that's very, very interesting ahead of next year's elections. Let's go across to senior reporter Siphamandla Goge out in Benoni for us this morning. Hello to you, Sipa, and while we are, of course, going to be paying respects for the wreath-laying ceremony later this morning, it is going to come down to what the NEC had to discuss, because a lot of people are wondering about next year, particularly with the tripartite alliance, and whether there could be a split, even seeing one of those members of the tripartite alliance going on their own for the elections.
Absolutely, it's going to be a very interesting discussion and outcome on the reconfiguration of the alliance itself. That's one of the most important talking points on the agenda of the National Executive Committee of the Governing African National Congress, which is the ANC. It's a 4-day NEC meeting which started on Friday. A number of issues have been discussed, including the energy crisis. NEC member of the ANC deployed as Electricity Minister, Dr. Ramakgopa, had to make a presentation and proposals to the ANC on how to deal with the ongoing energy crisis. They discussed the issue of unstable or unstable coalition governments in a number of municipalities across the country and the reconfiguration of the alliance. Those are some of the talking points or important talking points that have been discussed. We are today where President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to do the wreath-laying at the gravesite of the longest-serving president of the African National Congress, that is Oliver Tambo. Today marks 30 years since his demise, which was a big blow to the ANC. He led the ANC in exile, making sure that it's united. So today President Ramaphosa will pay his respects and do the wreath-laying ceremony here. I think the president is arriving. I'm going to ask my colleague Joe Komane to show you the visuals of the arrival there. I think that's President Cyril Ramaphosa arriving here to do the wreath-laying ceremony. We were going to have a word with the chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng, that is Banyazali Sufi, but due to protocol, he has to go and welcome the president. I'm going to ask my colleague Joe Komane to take out that camera so that we walk to show you those visuals there of the arrival of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is going to be performing this wreath-laying ceremony here. And we will be showing you what is happening, because this marks the official start of the program with the arrival excuse me, of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa. And I can tell you that in terms of the schedule and program for this event, it simply means we are underway, because it was expected to get underway just after 8 o'clock. Remember, the NEC meeting is still underway, and after this, they will have to go back to the NEC meeting venue, continue with some of the discussions, and what they will do after that is to ensure that they brief the media on that outstanding item, which is the reconfiguration of the alliance. And when they do that, they will then have to continue with the NEC meeting. And after the NEC meeting, we expect that towards the end of the week, then they will be briefing the media on the overall outcomes of the alliance. Let me just see if we can just get those visuals of the president of the ANC, President Cyril Sorry. Indeed, that's what is currently happening. The president of the ANC, flanked by religious leaders who will oversee this process, and then as well as the provincial leadership of the ANC in Gauteng. That includes the provincial chairperson, that is Banyazali Sufi, as well as the provincial secretary, the president greeting one of the daughters there of Oliver Tambo, who's the ambassador representing South Africa abroad. And I can tell you that this is the most important aspect of this program for the ANC. If you take into account the nature, the stature, the contribution of Oliver Tambo to the ANC's body politic. This is the man who led the party for years abroad under difficult times. This is the man who brought back those who were in exile, and this is the man who preached unity of the governing ANC. This is the man who said famously so, I hand over to you this liberation movement, strong, intact, and united. Please look after it, guide it with all you can. And the current status of the ANC, not really inspiring confidence if you take into account how the governing party is fractured and how the governing party is facing a number of challenges in this regard. So Oliver Tambo there saying, I hand it over to you, strong, united and intact. But at the current moment, that is not the status quo in terms of the ANC and politics. So what is currently happening is that the president of the ANC will go and greet PEC members. Those are provincial executive committee members of the ANC, as well as some national executive committee members who would have come to this program, which will be a very brief program, very short program. And the president of the ANC telling us during his visit to the Moseneke family that there is no tension between the ministers that are deployed in government, including the Minister of Electricity, and that is Dr. Khutienzo Ramakgopa, and together with the Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, Gwere Mantashe, as well as Minister of Public Enterprises, Minister Pravin Gordhan, over the powers, roles and responsibilities that would have been allocated to the newly established Ministry of Electricity. There have been reports that there is tension between ANC deployees and that is causing some discomfort, but President Ramaphosa downplaying those reports, saying that's not entirely true, that is not the case, and he says the powers, roles and responsibilities of the newly established ministry are being finalized to ensure that there is synergy. All deployees of the ANC work together, and the NEC meeting of the ANC discussing the issue of coalitions. Remember, in Gauteng, the ANC signaled that it's comfortable and willing to work with the economic freedom fighters. Yesterday, the national executive member of the ANC, that is David Makura, former chairperson of the province of Gauteng, as well as the former premier, saying, well, the ANC would want to have one national policy on how its provinces are dealing with the issue of coalitions. So back to the NEC meeting, and after today's program, the wreath-laying, there will be a briefing at 11 o'clock about the reconfiguration of the alliance, and then at 5 or 6 p.m. there will be a memorial lecture on Oliver Tambo, and that will mark the end of the NEC meeting. With that, let's take it back to you in studio.